Hey guys, it's great to be back.
Boom, like scoliosis.
Just wasn't quite as gangster as I hoped it would be. But anyhow,
at least he didn't zoom in on his face.
I don't have that camera today.
Get him started.
I don't have that camera today. I'm gonna have to do it old school.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Hey guys, so this is Jody and this is the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast, and you can see that we obviously have our shenanigans already in fine tune and ready to go. This is episode 101. It's hard to believe there's been that many days, but if you can look at all of us, and you might believe that. So anyway, guys, got David back after his
scoliosis.
I want to say it again, but he's just gonna tell the joke again. It really is great to see everybody and be back on, though.
Cool.
Like scoliosis.
Thanks.
God.
Somebody mute him.
You guys ever seen what's his name, Jar Jar or Jar Jar from Star Wars?
Are you saying he's our Jar Jar?
Jar Jar from now
Bring
on.
that memory up again.
Yep, that's him right there. Little floppy ears and everything. Anyway, David, I'm sure you're not having a drink tonight. However,
No.
I do want to, Lord, I do want to cheers to everybody, and cheers to you, David, for being back. And I hope you continue to
Coffee tonight. But yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, I'm on pain meds and stuff like that that are keeping me from imbibing, but hopefully I'll be off of that as quick as possible. I had my last narcotic pill on Monday, and I'm just trying to cut that off because I don't want to get hooked on that horrible shit. Yeah, so just trucking along, and yeah, happy to be here.
Well, if you change your mind about that, I know a guy.
Yeah, see, that's how it starts.
I'll start.
Oh God.
Yeah. Hey, how do you poop? Does it hurt the back at all? I mean,
No, but
Can we
seriously, they
talk
put me on
about
stool
bourbon?
softeners for a while because I was on Oxy is what I was on.
All right.
And yeah, stool softeners, and they're like, oh yeah, but you don't have to take those if you stop taking the Oxy. I'm like, cool, we're done. So yeah. So
This
I'm
has all
pooping
been
okay.
wonderful and on. I'm glad we talked about this, but this is
Yeah.
the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast, not the poop
Oxy Rebellion.
poop Rebellion Barcast. Anyhow, I guess it could be tonight. Who knows? But anyhow, let's go around the horn and let's just find out what everybody's having tonight. Billy, what are you having tonight?
I am having some Del Mar 12, just switching it up a little bit. Again, one of these pours that I realize how much I miss it once I've had it again. 12 year, of course. Good pour, not too hard on the wallet. Nice to enjoy.
It's got a cool bottle.
Yeah, nice little stag on the front.
Yeah,
Like it.
don't like the content, but it's a fantastic bottle.
Oh,
I don't like scotch. You know this.
free your mind.
And the rest will follow.
Yeah.
There he goes. there he
Okay,
goes.
all right. So listen, $5. Even when you guys can tell me what group who sings that song.
and Vogue.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, frog.
USA, USA.
I
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
But what? Never mind. Let's just move on.
Is it because he's Caucasian?
No,
No.
definitely not because of that. It's
Where
just
did-
because
where
he's
did-
Jack Frost.
Where did the phrase originally come from is the question.
What was that? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Where did the phrase originally come from?
Oh, see, that's a better question. I don't know.
Don't know.
Anna Ross. Boom.
Nope.
Is that it? Is that
I
right?
don't know. I was just throwing out names.
George Clinton.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Parliament Funkadelic.
George Clinton and P-Funk.
Lord.
All right. So anyhow, Jack, what are you drinking tonight? Obviously, it's something strong.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, this being our 101 show, and also in honor of David's back, I'm doing Makers 101. I haven't had this yet, actually. This is the first time opening up and actually taking a sip of it. It's pretty good for 101 proof. It does not have a lot of and actually I've just poured it, so it's not really, hasn't had time to breathe a lot, but it doesn't really have a lot of that hot spice that a higher proof bourbon really does have in the back end, back of your throat, coming back through on your exhale in your nose. It's got a really mellow actual nose to it, believe it or not. and it's pretty good.
Cool. So let me ask you a question about that, because we had talked about it earlier in the pre-show, but having the wax on it, and then when you get the wax all broken off and then you have to twist it, how'd that make you feel?
Okay, I almost broke the top off of this thing because I forgot it was a twist. I almost
Mhm.
just I tried breaking. I'm like, why isn't this popping off? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's because
It's like taking the top off the El Presidente.
it's like pulling panties down and seeing hair.
Jesus Christ.
I do that every night.
I know, me too.
I solved that problem. I just don't wear them.
See, with that, I'm going back to playing with my blue balls.
Oh, look at
There
there
you
they
go.
are.
All right, no, seriously though, it's
We ain't gonna make it to 102.
it doesn't.
And hey, I got nothing to say. I'm
I don't
just-
either. I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed by all of that.
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
Jody,
all right.
I'm
Let's
pretty
reel it-
sure
reel it-
YouTube just monetized us so that they could demonetize us after.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Well, like the
You can
press
edit that.
secretary says, let's
So
circle
that takes
back
time, so I
around.
don't.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, can I go
Honestly-
to somebody else? I'm gonna go to somebody
No,
else.
no, no, hold on,
Jay.
hold on. I'm going to answer your question just real quick, and we'll get back on track. So, oddly enough, to me, a twister versus a cork really doesn't mean that much to me. It's just, I just wish I knew, or I should say, remember that it is a twister, so I don't try to break the cap off every time I try to open it. That's all. That's the
Yeah.
only problem I got.
Instead of going Jay, I want to go to Mark because I know he's having the presidential drum. You finally got that top off, didn't you?
Yes, as you guys saw, I finally got the damn top off. I had to use tools.
I had to do the same thing. I had to break out my hunting knife.
I do like it though.
Yeah.
I do like it, but yeah, it's just a bitch to get it. It was a very tough time entering this bottle.
Yeah, I'm with you. That
Good though.
when I was taking the wax off, I was like, what kind of wax is this? Is it like cement? And they just painted it? I mean, do I need a chisel? I mean, how's this come off?
Yeah.
Does it have a bottom door to it? Like instead of the top, it has a screw off on the bottom. Maybe I'm missing it. Like
The strangest bottle I've ever had to open.
it is. Well, I mean, it's not strange. It's just the most difficult bottle of bourbon I've ever opened. Jay, what do we have tonight?
Mark, your Oliva tin poster thing behind you is amazing.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I have some high-end Jim Beam. It's the Baker's 7.
That's the talk of the week.
Minimum of
I was
7
just getting ready to
years.
say that.
But this one is 8.
Oh,
Interesting.
It's 107 proof. So I'm kind of trying to, in my mind, I'm trying to decide if I still like the Weller 107 better. Right now, absolutely.
gotcha.
Do you get a heavy grain up front with that one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very grain forward. Absolutely.
Yeah. So my first time having it, I think I had it on a show. It actually took me back to actually cleaning horse stalls. That smell of pine and
Yep.
cedar and stuff like that.
For sure. For
And hopefully
sure.
that was all.
Oh, I got one I need to, when I come to your party, I got to bring it. If you think that it takes you back to the hayloft, I got one I picked up in Portland. That's buckwheat is the flavor grain.
Hmm.
I want to
It's just-
record every one of you drinking that.
Yeah, you know, I have fond memories of the horse stalls here in Miami too, growing up in the hood, you know. They were everywhere. Just couldn't get away from the horse stalls in Miami.
Getting
You
up
know,
early,
it's-
milking the cows, and then
They got
cleaning the
tracks down
horses.
there.
Oh God, it was horrible, I tell you.
Now they all work at the rabbit hole or whatever the hell it's called.
Hey, listen. I'm just waiting to get Jody down here so I can handcuff him to the pole. Dirty rabbit.
Oh my goodness, I want to see that.
Never gonna happen.
Listen, with his pants around his ankles, with his calf showing.
Never is a long time, my friend.
You've already given up on the Jack Daniels.
I never give up. I'm just not going to push it. I will take any opportunities that present themselves. So if we're together and there happens to be a nice Jack Daniels, I'll figure out a way to get you to try.
No, I'll try it. I told you I will, and I did that last time. I
You did.
owned
you
up
did,
to it.
You did.
All right. So moving on to I'm sure it's going to be we're going to lose our point of direction again. So Jeff, go ahead. Why don't you?
Did we have a point of direction?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So right now I'm started on a old fashioned I made with a New Riff single barrel. And because I tend to find New Riff a little too young, I paired it with some cherry bitters, which kind of the little bit of sweetness from the cherry kind of balances the youngness of the New Riff. So it makes it a really tasty way of drinking it. And apparently Jack and I were thinking much alike tonight because I also brought as my second pour the Maker's 101.
Nice.
Did you notice how Makers spells the word whiskey?
Yeah, with a Y.
Yeah.
And it's purposely done that way.
Yeah.
Correct. It's one of their claims to fame.
That, and then also something about the trademark stamp on it. I forget what else it's called, but the we had it on one of our shows because we did a Maker's Mark show.
No, they also
what's the MO there? Because I don't know, like to go with the Y, like Irish whiskey, I'm guessing, versus EY. Like why do they do that?
Normally, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Normally, the EY designates that it's not an American product, that it's an Irish or a Scotch whiskey.
You mean a Y?
No, I mean, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So it's the EY is usually the Americanized version.
Right.
and I
So
think
why did they go with Y? Is there some story behind that, or just they wanted to,
Go ahead, Jeff.
eyebrows?
See you.
I was going
Here's
to
the
say,
story.
I think it might have to do with the fact that when they came out, they were coming out specifically to be marketed as a high-end bourbon. They wanted to set themselves apart from all the others. So they wanted to be high-end at a time when bourbon was kind of on its way down. So I'm guessing maybe that's why they wanted to kind of put themselves in the same stratosphere as scotches and stuff.
I see, like a European flair to it to seem a little more exotic, maybe.
Probably.
And then they started, showing up in every bar in
Exactly.
every town in America with their baseline stuff, which isn't, awful or anything, but it's just very meh. So interesting. Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's all puffery.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. All right. So Rob,
Yes, sir. How are we doing this evening, gentlemen?
we're doing well, brother. How about you?
Rob!
David, nice to have you back. Glad to
Thank you,
hear
sir.
Like a vertebrae.
So what part of the country are you in at this moment, Rob?
I am in
Ohio.
Northwest Ohio.
Ah,
Gotta love, not far from Toledo. The Mud Hens. Come on.
say
Toledo Mud
hi to
Hens. Come
Klinger
on,
for
tell me
me.
a show that I'd reference him back to.
Say hi to Klinger
And
for
then-
me, man.
Isn't it Bull Durham?
Ah,
No. Klinger
But
from MASH.
No.
MASH?
You know, I
Klinger,
didn't
That's been
really
way
get-
too long for me.
I didn't really get into to MASH until I was late 30s, probably.
love MASH.
No, I do too now, but I didn't get into it until then.
Rob, are you near the Jeep factory up there?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just up the road. I'm making it up.
Make it up as I go along. So tonight I am doing a little Maker's Mark. This is the Virginia ABC store pick that I got when I was down in Virginia. This one is called Smooth and Savory. Oh,
ooh,
and is it?
it
Like everything in
It
Virginia.
has some savoriness to it. Smooth. It's round. It's got a nice rounded flavor to it. Lots of dark cherries, dark fruits. Very sweet on that initial sweet. Lingers a little bit, so I like it. Fits right in with the rest of their private selection barrel stave series they're doing.
Again, I still think it's the 2020 was killed by Maker's Mark. I think they blew it out of the water. That's just my opinion. We are going to discuss that a little bit here in a little bit, but a little bit here in a little bit. So anyhow, Jonathan.
Well, good evening. I am doing old Overholt 11-year. Got from old Rob, straight from PA. This is definitely a high rye. I actually, when Rob first sent it to me, I definitely enjoyed it. And then when I rearranged my shelves, I put it at the top. And it's been one that I've not taken a look back at. And then I saw it tonight. I was like, you know what? I actually enjoyed that. So I pulled it down to enjoy it tonight. I definitely get a heavy chocolate covered cherry with this one. You get a little bit of the spice from the high rye content, but on the back end, you can get that hint of cherry chocolate in there. It's really, really good.
It is a very good whiskey. Very good whiskey.
Now, wasn't it one of the founding whiskeys? I could be wrong, but wasn't it like some reason I seen a diagram that had that on it, and I wanted to say it was.
It is an old Pennsylvania name.
So like 1897 is what I heard, but I don't know if that's right.
Before that,
sure.
Before that?
Before that, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been around middle 1800s is when.
1810 is what the label says.
Yeah. Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
I was only off by what 87 years.
Old Overholt is one of those brands that went out of production for a long while. And
Yeah.
they brought it back.
Right.
Is it the original recipe? Do we know?
Do we ever know?
Is that the
Probably
puffery?
Claim it is. That would be the puffery.
Yeah. Okay. Mark, what do you got going on down there in Arizona?
I woke up
And you were hungry.
There you go.
Congratulations.
and I ate a salad right before we went live. But yeah, otherwise I'm good. I went to Whiskey Wednesday. I didn't have too many. I only had one. It was Old Forester 100. Had a cigar and came home and decided I was going to finally sip this because it took 2 days to open. So, and for those who don't know, I actually did a video of me opening the damn thing. But
I'll have
it's
to go
good.
back and see that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I have no complaints right now. I'm okay. Well, actually, I have one. I have a friend of the family. I just found out passed. He died. I was kind of sad to hear that, and it's weird because my dad just talked to him and he said you guys hadn't called him, and it's been in my head to call him. I didn't call and got the word. So this one is for one of my favorite Redskins or Washington football team fans. Ted.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So myself, I'm having for my first pour is having some Blue Note aged 9-year. I personally love this. This is a nice bite on it. All the standards that you would find. It is a Tennessee bourbon. Did we discuss this before? Is it made here in Tennessee?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Memphis.
it is distilled in Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Their
it's-
juke
it's
joint is Kentucky sourced.
yeah, and so the juice is Kentucky sourced. Is that what we said?
No, their juke joint.
Oh, okay,
They
yeah.
have two. They have the
Yeah.
juke joint, then they have the blue.
I have
note.
not tried that yet, but I do like the Blue Note a lot. I like all the initial spices that you have. It has. Let's do it. It's a 93 proof, so it has enough bite. It's a little bit more bite than an Eagle Rare. It actually tastes a lot like an Eagle Rare. Has a lot of the similar notes. Has a lot of the warmth travels back. You can start to feel it. Why can't I speak?
Take two.
Yeah, circle back around.
I don't know what happened there. It's like my brain just stopped working. I was like, I'm a stroke. I was like, don't touch my helmet. Anyway, so I'm just saying, that's how I felt. But anyway.
About time you got one in.
There's a hell below we're all gonna go.
I mean, it's just how I felt just then. I was like, I don't know what the hell happened. I couldn't speak. Anyway, so as it opens up, you have more the cinnamon fades to more of a almost like I don't know. I want to say cherry because I love cherries. I don't really I love strawberries, but it has definitely a fruit taste to it. And then it kind of dries out more towards like some type of dried fruit, which would be something like a raisin or a plum or something of that nature. That's what I get. Now, what I love about that is everybody always gets something different. And then for my second pour tonight, I'm gonna have the smoke wagon, and I'm gonna have the this is a small batch, so which I do dig. And then I have some uncut. I actually have all of them because my boy Mark hooked me up with it. So that's what I'm doing tonight. So let's open it up for discussion. I want to go around the horn real quick, and I want to ask everyone. 2020, who won the year? And I'm gonna start with Jeff, and I'll just randomly pick people. Who do you think won the year for 2020 in Bourbon?
Well, I don't go hunting the big names, so if I see one, I'll try it, but I don't go hunting them. So some of I guess mine's some of the most obscure. My absolute favorite from this year was this Dickel 15. I fell in love with that. I got it. I was amazed and kicked myself for giving my half a bottle to Jay. And so when I found a store in Memphis that had several bottles, I was in heaven and grabbed it.
Never give away the Dickel for free.
Never give away the Dickel for free. I made that mistake once. But I did give it to Jay. So there is that.
A gift that keeps on giving. And Billy,
That's
what
right.
about you? Billy.
Oh, I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
hear you. Kind of
Doesn't know his name.
He hasn't moved in a couple
Thinking about
minutes.
getting-
He's like he's
Give me a
asleep. He's
smart-ass
like this.
comment.
No, I on my end you stroked out. I couldn't even hear what you said.
You told me I had 2 strokes in one day.
Yeah. So for
Not a good
me,
track record.
I will definitely say if I had to pick a top 3 of the year, like most of you guys,
I said one. I said just pick one right now.
I had to pick one.
Yeah, one. You have to pick one. I know it's a hard test. You can't fail it. It's completely subjective.
Lever's Fork.
I dig
See,
that.
you failed.
That was my answer.
Yeah.
Pick something else.
I mean, the reason I said it because I had so many good things this year, and the Lever's Fork was really one of the last bottles that I got. But just when I opened it, and poured a bit of it, kind of let it breathe, and I put my nose in it, and immediately it was like I was seduced. I was like, okay, whatever you say, you got it. It was I was all in. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Was that the Leapers Fort talking, or was that my hall pass?
Oh shit.
No, that was the Lever's Fork.
But wait a minute, didn't you get the Leapers Fork in 2021?
I did.
It's a 2020 release.
It's a 2020 release, though.
Oh, you're gonna give it on technicality, huh?
No,
I mean, but listen, the stuff was really good. As a chef, I can taste a lot of different things with my nose. And I got chocolate, I got caramel, I got walnuts, I got cinnamon, I got leather. I mean, it was just.
It's complex, yeah. There's
Yeah,
you can pick
it
out
was
a lot of
something-
different things out of it.
It was something you can definitely describe. I can't talk. Describe as a very elegant bourbon. I can tell you, if Lever's Fork was here in some of the restaurants in Miami, it would be a $28, $35 pour easy over the rocks without even counting. It would be all of $25 to $35, no doubt.
An extra dollar for the rocks.
Yeah, it really would be because
how much would it cost if it was clear ice?
forget about it.
He stole his thunder. I know he was
Yeah.
getting ready.
If it was clear ice, it's $90 all day.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of my answer.
Yeah.
All right. So since you're already talking, Jack, what was your the one drink, one pour, the one thing you got now? And I guess I need to clarify this a little bit. What I don't want to see is us picking BTACs and stuff like that. We know those taste great. But I'd rather make this. You don't actually, you don't.
I don't
know
own any of them. I don't own any of them.
I know, but you don't even know 90% of what is in your collection tastes like.
True.
So what was your pick for the year?
Oh, anything that was poured over cleared ice. Duh.
I thought he was going to say Budweiser.
That's like the Jack version of, what's the best drink? The one that's in my hand. The way you like to drink it.
All right. So that was fun. Anyway, Jay,
Smoke wagon, hands down, single barrel smoke wagon.
I was gonna put it in my top 3, but
Whatever the process is in Nevada that this stuff goes through and its aging is off the chains phenomenal. You know, it came out of nowhere. It swept the entire bourbon world. And now they're expanding. The guy that runs it is an absolute character. It's the most memorable release that I can think of in this last year.
It's because every bottle is kissed by a Las Vegas call girl before it goes out.
Wow, and that's how we got COVID. So Mark,
I've seen the
I was going to
video
say
on that.
syphilis, but
I
yeah.
didn't say a Chinese showgirl.
Oh,
God,
Oh man,
no,
you're gonna have
no.
to edit that.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to edit that out.
because we're gonna get kicked off Facebook now.
this might be the cringiest show that we've done.
Yeah, we've all made a mistake so far. So
His opinions expressed are not mine, damn it.
Second.
So my pick, if I didn't travel, I would have said Smoke Wagon, but I have to give it to Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is just, they killed it last year. And it's like everywhere that I would go, there were different bottles of Maker's Mark. And I'm like, damn. I mean, it's everywhere. I was like, shit, like every state had their own. Then you have these, you had hot chocolate and chocolate marshmallow and Grandpa's Toddy and you know, there's this one and there's that one. And that's on top of the SC5s. They just owned it, literally. But I definitely would have to go. You know, I know I'm not picking second, but the second would be Smoke Wagon.
Now let me ask you guys this question: do you think Maker's Mark have had this kind of year because they've been planning years in advance? I mean, because for the amount of product and the different variations of it, they really just, I think they like outdid everybody. And I would think that would take some kind of significant planning, not just a year or two ahead, you know?
I think that would be an interesting research question to evaluate, because I agree with you. When you look at it from a business perspective, you're always wanting to show potential trajectory where you're going to be financially long term. And so you plan that out periodically, years in advance of what your trajectory is going to be. And so you'd have to have, and of course you'd have to have all those barrels lined up many years ahead of time to release them as it is. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and go real quick with mine. I also picked Maker's Mark as there's several it could have won. And I agree with Jay that Smoke Wagon came on like fire, man. Just awesome. Like everybody had to have it. I had to have it. We all had to have it. And it is fantastic. But man, Maker's Mark took me from where I hated Maker's Mark to like, I think it's one of the greatest bourbons that are out there right now, like this year alone. And it's like all of their different expressions. Many of them are very complex, and it's almost like they sensed 2020 was going to happen. And instead of slowing production or anything like that, they just went and kept doing it without even advertising it, just kept releasing private selects or the SCs or whatever it might be. And I just think that the value, the price point on them too, the price point's been been solid, on point, and the sheer availability of them too. Like I don't know anyone that can't get a Maker's Mark no matter where you're at. So specifically the ones we were talking about, I'm not talking about their generic one, and that would not be in there, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's kind of where I'm at. Jonathan, what about you?
So I'm going to actually go with one that kind of broadened my horizons kind of early on to think outside of the state of Kentucky for bourbon. And that was actually a store pick. It was the first store pick that I bought from Don out in Fairview, and it was a High West double rye. Actually, I didn't even purchase it. My wife, she bought it because she thought I would enjoy it, but she didn't know that I was only kind of purchasing Kentucky bourbons. But when I got it, I was like, well, I got to try it. She was real sweet to buy it. Had it, and I was like, dang, this is good. So it was definitely one that started kind of me changing my thought process on what I was purchasing to start looking outside of the state of Kentucky for a good quality bourbon.
Very nice. Rob.
I'm going to join in on the Maker's Mark private selection stuff because I do have, I mean, I'm drinking their Virginia ABC selection. I have 3 of the 6 Ohio selections at home. And I have the SAEP 5 PR4 as well. And you can get the differences in each one based on how they've staved it. And based on what I've read, Jody, this kind of goes back to what you were talking about, is how did they plan this far out? And the base bourbon, from what I'm reading, is pretty much that if the state's picking, they're picking their own barrels, and it's what the staves that they're putting in. And those are only in there for 8 months to a year, if I read correctly. So it's not that long of a planning process to, it's a year from when they pick it, maybe to 14 months to get it out. So it's not like it's they're picking this barrel at 4 years and they're waiting another 4 years for it to finish aging and then staving it. So that staving process to add that complexity to their product is only taking a shorter time than a full barrel.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate that. David.
Okay, well, I was gonna be on the bandwagon with Leaper's Fork because that really is an excellent bottle. But it was kind of already picked, and I was like, okay, well, what else did I really like from last year? Was that olive oil I got from Mark, the Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered, was also really fantastic, really complex. I was like, yeah, these are great, but someone else already picked Smoke Wagon. I feel like we're a little too maybe around each other. The one that I think won for me seems like a total sleeper, and maybe that's going to change soon. But it was honestly, and Jody, I brought it over to your place. It was the Hulling Station, the weeded bourbon. I loved that bottle absolutely from start to finish. It went fast, way too fast. I need to get a replacement. But for me, that won the year. And you know what? It's not that expensive either. So, and I'm always looking for that angle, and that helps something win for me.
All right, cool. Now I want to break it into, I think we would, if we went into our top 3, we've already said who our top 3 were. Probably collectively, we have probably the top 3 already named here. So did you pick up any bottles this year that you were like, or I'd rather open it up to, instead of just picking up any bottles, did you have any pours this year where you were like, holy hell, that was freaking awesome? And I'll go first because, Jay had told me that if you ever get a chance to try the 18 and above Eagle Rare 17, that 101 proof, it's life-changing. The man did not lie. That is the best bourbon I have ever had in the entirety of my life. All right. It is fantastic. So, and you can, man, I tell you what, I don't know what it is. I don't, because I would love to have a conversation. We've talked about this before, about the perfect aging, but for whatever purpose, distilling practice they have to make that 17, 18 and above 101 is just fantastic. It's really complex. And what I love best about it, and I said this about the Stag 2020, because I would put it right there. I'd probably put it in the same ballpark, is it's so complex that you could have 6 people taking the same sample from the same bottle, and you'd have the basic notes and the basic heat and stuff of that nature. But then you would also have 6 different expressions that you didn't even pick out. And I love that. So that would be me, the best drink I had for the year. So Billy, you want
to? Stag Senior. Pleasantly surprised by it. When I had it, it was only it was actually a sample of it. And when I had it, I said, I'm not going to give it any expectations as to what I'm hoping for. But it was something that as a chef, it gave me a lot of homework. Like I really had to study it. And the more I study it, the more it grew. So for me, why I got some, I guess what you would call unicorns, I'm definitely now trying to get my hands on a bottle of Stag Senior. So yeah, I would definitely say for me it was the Stag Senior.
Nice. Jack.
So honestly, last year, 2020, was my breakout year for collecting and drinking and all that, because normally it was just kind of 1 or 2 bottles here or there, and then that's all I kind of stuck with. And I branched out dramatically this year, and I did taste a lot, contrary to popular belief. Basically, my top 3 in no real order. Just real quick, the Bowman Brothers small batch out of Virginia. I took 1 sip of that, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever." Like I called my neighbor over, and I'm like, "You have to come and try this," and we drank the entire bottle that night. I mean, it was. And it's hard to get out here in Colorado.
That's how I felt with Smoke Wagon. I did the exact same thing with Smoke Wagon. The very first time I had a bottle of that, I was like, oh my God. Called one of my buddies, and he brought his buddy, and we drank the whole bottle.
Mm-hmm. The other ones are the Blue Notes, the store picks. I had a 10-year, and that one was just it was phenomenal. It really was. It was from a small boutique shop out in Arvada, Spirit Wine Provisions, as they're called. And they the guy, he handpicks his barrels. Obviously, most places do, but it was absolutely phenomenal. And just kind of to wrap it all up was the Shenanigans. They're Colorado, based out of Colorado, and they came out with a Blue Peak, and it's a lower proof, but it's finished in Solera casks. And I'm not really a big finished guy, but this one. It was another one that really kind of rocked me a little bit, and in a good way. I was like,
that sherry cask they have, because you sent me the Black Peak or Black Diamond Peak or something like that.
Yeah.
And that is, first of all, if you want a cherry taste, that was the only finish I've had in 2020. You could actually, for me, taste the cherry taste in it. And it's solid cherry taste. But the sherry cask that they did, because I love sherry finished bourbons, but that was fantastic. So Jeff.
So like others, I really was impressed with the Smoke Wagon, but I think because in the Nashville Bourbon Barrel, we've got a MGP fanatic named Thomas, and he had a connection out there in Nevada. He had been hyping up, and he had been bringing it in before it was distributed here. So by the time that I saw it on the shelf, I grabbed it. But it didn't surprise me because I kind of was already expecting it. Like some of the others, I've been really impressed with the Blue Note products. They're a small distillery out of Memphis, so they're still sourcing at this point. As we kind of talked earlier, the Blue Note bottle is a Tennessee source. But I'm kind of like some of the others, and just the stuff that they're picking to source, I'm not sure what they're doing with it. After they get it, if they're aging it some more themselves, or if it's the way they're blending it, they're just really doing some great things. And, depending on whether it's just the standard off the shelf like you have, Jody, or the store pick, they're $40 to $50 bottles for a 93 to this one is a 122.8 proof. I mean, it's also, in my opinion, a really good value for what you're getting as well.
What was the proof of that again? Sorry.
122.8.
Hot damn.
It's so good.
Literally.
That caused me to look at mine again too. I was like, they just say 128. Oh my God. Find that one at. Wow, that's I'm gonna have to concede to agree.
I'm gonna need to find one in 10 years. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Why don't you go ahead and go next?
Okay, I'm actually really struggling with this because I'm sure whatever my best pour I had, recently or last year, I've had at your house, like almost, almost certainly, whatever it is. I'm like, is it, did I have the Raquel? I want to say I did, or like maybe the
did.
Sinatra. Yeah, I
did.
want to say it's kind of a toss up between the two of those. I really like Sinatra like quite a lot, but the Raquel Farms that was amazing as well. And again, I don't know if I could really pick between the two of them. So that's just what I'm going to go out with. So yeah, it's whatever the best thing is, I'm going to get it at Jody's. So even though we're not friends, that's why I come around and drink at his house.
Yeah. And we talk
Problem is,
almost
Jody
every day.
doesn't know
Yeah,
he's been
true.
coming around drinking at his house.
Anyhow, moving on. Jay.
Such a hard question. So
It is.
everything everybody said is kind of already covered a lot of my loves. I would say that you're gonna love this. I would say that this
Oh, Lord.
year, Jack has had a tremendous resurgence of single barrels that
Yeah.
have been excellent. And
Mhm.
when I say excellent, I mean above board, above par from all the other years where I've ever had Jack single barrels. I've had a lot, but the 3 or 4 that we've gotten recently in the local stores around here, single barrels, and they've been picked by people with what I would consider respectable palates, have been phenomenal. So cheers to Jack. So I think Jack did a fantastic job of you asked, what did I pour, and go, wow, this stuff is really good. These Jack single barrels are it.
Did you get the new single barrel rye that Don just released today?
No, I opted to pass on that. And there's a couple of reasons I did that. So number one, I don't know if you've been following, and you probably have, the hype around these green label high proof Jack Daniels single barrels that they've had floating around.
No.
And this is the standard. This is the brown label single barrel that he's picked, which I'm sure is great if you like ryes, but I generally don't. So although I have not tried it, I couldn't possibly say that it is bad. I'm not gonna. But it didn't seem like something that would be in my wheelhouse. I happened to try the green label at a friend's, and I did not like it, so I kind of passed on the brown. So, but Don Norman's single barrel Jack Daniels pick that he had before that was the regular bourbon, was off the chains good. So
We even got Jody to try it.
And
Yeah.
I did not have that same sentiment that they do. So just saying, I don't even want to be part of this conversation. Mark.
Great question. Difficult question. I don't know if I can honestly pick one. I could give you several. Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered, for sure.
Thomas thinks that small batch is better than uncut unfiltered.
Yeah, isn't that odd? Don't you find that unusual?
I do. I actually can't say I agree with him on that. I like the
I
bite
don't either.
on the small batch better than I like it on the. I mean, that initial bite is awesome. That's what you buy a bourbon, in my opinion. That's what you buy a bourbon for, is that nice bite that bites you, and then it kind of opens up everything, and then all of it flows in there, and you get all the different tastes and the complexities. The small batch, in my opinion, has a much greater bite to it, initial bite, but the complexities of the tasting notes that you get from the uncut unfiltered is off the chart, in my opinion. So
I'll tell you something else that I really, really did like. I have one of the master distiller bottles of Rebel.
Yeah, I got one of those. Rebel
That
10.
thing, oh yeah, I have a store pick out of Atlanta from Sprayberry. Oh, that thing is really good. Surprisingly.
I will tell you this, with that, I found it better when I first popped the top, poured it into a glass, had it neat, and took a sip. I thought it was better than when I let it breathe. When I let it breathe, I was like, what is going wrong? Is there fresh fruit in here or something? I mean, it seemed like there was a totally and distinct different taste after a period of time.
And I have one more. I know it's bad, right? But I have one more. Another bottle pick from that same bottle shop in Atlanta, Old Soul. think David and I had a couple conversations about that. It was old soul. I think it's a 7-year. It's MGP source. That damn thing is really, really good. Pound cake.
When you like to be able to go back in time
That's
and
right,
be able to
pound
test
cake.
your MGP?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really would.
Guy,
Among other things.
like everybody probably sit around.
Apple.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about from the bourbon aspect. I mean, Apple too as well. I mean, I agree.
If we're going back in the time machine, man.
Right.
Yeah, might as well buy some Bitcoin while you're at it.
Yeah.
Doji, shoot for the moon.
A little bit. I'm mad I didn't buy more. That's another
Get
one.
All
that
right, anyway,
sports almanac,
Jonathan.
Yeah.
So
Wait a
I
minute,
don't know.
hold on a second. Did you just bring back in the Future's sports almanac?
The sports almanac. Yeah. Hell yeah, I did.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. That was very rude of me. Please continue.
All right, that almanac was made before I was born.
All right, well then, fuck him, and let's go to the next person.
Oh.
Guard him before we let him in.
Should have.
I would not. I don't really want to say what my best pour has been, because I really have enjoyed pretty much every pour of just getting to try different things this year. I think the ones that are most memorable for me are the ones that have really opened my horizons on what a good quality bourbon or good quality whiskey is. I really did enjoy Redemption Rye Batch 1 at 103 proof. That was opened up by released by Castle and Key. I tried, I'm on probably my third bottle of Batch 1. I've enjoyed it so much. It's just really good for 3 years, 10 months. I can't speak enough about it. I think it's definitely worth the purchase. Let it sit for a couple minutes, let it breathe, but it's really, really good. The other one actually is we've already talked about, is the Leaper's Fork Bottle and Bond. I've had so many, through the military, I had so many bad experiences with Jack Daniels.
Yes.
Even being from Tennessee, I was just like, I don't like Tennessee whiskeys.
I'm with you.
Amen.
I feel like I'm in church.
But that did open me back up to, trying different ones. And then Don's release of that single barrel Jack Daniels that Jay was talking about was, phenomenal. It was like 132 proof or 30 something proof.
135.2, right?
Yeah, it was on up there. So it's definitely got me back into Tennessee whiskeys and just, exploring that route. So those are, I think, the most memorable for me that kind of top my list.
Very cool. Very cool. Rob.
It's been an interesting year for me. I mean, obviously, and we talked about Maker's Mark enough, but I think I've found in the rye world, that old Overhold 11 that Jonathan's drinking tonight. I really enjoyed that rye. I've sent a few bottles of it out. I've picked it up for people. I've given it to friends. It was only released in PA and Ohio, and I really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed a lot of the new things that I can't get in PA, and the big one this year has been the Heaven Hill 7-year bottled and bond that my friend Billy has been sending up with. Those I'm halfway through the second bottle that I've got. It is just really, really, really delicious stuff.
Slap yourself and put it away.
He put it away.
I've hidden it behind other bottles that I want to drink first. And part of what I learned, one of the things I learned a little bit about some PA stuff. And there's one that's called Resurgent. And they have a cask strength and a 4-year 100 proof that for a local PA distillery that are just friggin' fantastic. I've really started to enjoy those, and it's really opened my mind to some PA distilleries. You talked a little bit about you guys down there in Tennessee. You've got your Leaper's Fork. Belle Meade is out there, and they're available in other states. And I do enjoy the Belle Meades as well. I've got some reserve. I've got the EXO cognac cask that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. but trying to discover things that aren't unicorns, that aren't pappies, that aren't the stuff that's become allocated in Eagle Rares, and looking in PA, is there something that's aged? There's a lot of distillers in PA, but they're all releasing 2-year or 3-year aged bourbons that aren't the best. They're okay. I'm like, it needs another year in the barrel. It needs another 18 months in the barrel. But this one, this Resurgent, is just, it's really good for what PA is offering right now.
You know what's funny? Everybody talks about having unicorns and things like that. But I really feel like if there's like 10 unicorns out there, there's like 125 other bottles that you can pretty much get with a little trading or whatnot, or contact with people that are in that same realm. It's kind of like with cigars. People really covet Cuban cigars just because of the fact that they're so hard to get. But, real cigar smokers know there's so many things out there that's better than Cohibas or Cuban cigars.
Nicaragua.
So,
Danley, anything coming out of Danley right now is just top stuff.
Yeah, it's like, even if you can get your hands on the unicorns and you can afford to get your hands on those unicorns, Heaven Hill is not the easiest to find, but it can be found, and it's reasonable. It's less than $50 a bottle.
It's
Eagle
not
Red-
easy to find here.
Okay, well, between us, we can find it. Let's just
I know
say
we
that.
can.
I think that's the big difference. That resonates a lot with me, Billy. Like, yeah, we can source it and help find it. If it's, we're still paying retail, it's still like normal prices. Just regionally, it might be hard to get a hold of. Versus
Right, but
hunting allocated, you got to know a guy, and we can hit that level too. And there are people
right,
who
and
here
for
pretty
us, that's what I think is one of our big advantages. We all know each other.
Yeah.
So, even if you can't get it, Jody, you can get it.
No, I know
You
that.
just have to send a message. So,
But-
really and truly, you can get it.
I'm just merely pointing out that here in Tennessee, that it's not.
Well, I mean, again, it's like I've never seen Weller in the wild here, but I can get it because I know somebody, and it's not gonna cost me an arm and a leg. So I just think, yeah, the unicorns are nice and all, but really and truly, okay, if you want to consider Blanton's a unicorn, the Pappies, the 7 Eagle Rare 17s, the Stag Seniors, all those things. But listen, a good Eagle Rare, a Heaven Hill, a Lever's Fork, some of the other Wellers that you can get, the Rebel. And these are phenomenal bottles. They're phenomenal pours. And if you really think about it, none of them are going to really break the bank. You're not going to have to choose between gas and this bottle of bourbon, I mean, you're never going to pay $200 for Heaven Hill. I mean, if you do, that's your problem. But, it's one of those things where
25 year.
Huh? What
You
was
might
that?
for the 25 year.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I kind of to play off what Billy was saying, I don't even think you need to go as far as having to know people. You have to just get your mind off the unicorns. I mentioned earlier, it's like I don't go hunting them. Of the allocated, the only one I would love to grab a hold of is a Stag Junior. If I find it at MSRP, I'm going to grab it. But I'm not out there hunting it because I know it's rare. And because I know I can go into the store, and if I look around and if I listen to people, if I try a few things, I'm going to find something I'm going to like every bit as great as that. I mean, like this Blue Note that I got at 122.8 proof, that's up there close to the Stag Junior range of proof. And honestly, I think it's about as good as any Stag Junior I've sampled. You just have to be willing to not get stuck on the hype and try some things, open your mind, learn how to read the bottles a little bit so that you know exactly what you're getting, and then sample some things. You're going to find stuff on every shelf of every liquor store that if you give it an honest shake, I think is probably going to be every bit as good as any unicorn bottle you're going to have. Even not having connections of people that can get something for you and send it to you.
All right. So
No, I totally agree with you, Jeff. You're absolutely right. And I think when I think about, wanting something, I really do think of us as a whole. And even to the point of if I'm thinking about getting something and I'm not really that sure about it, I know I can reach out to anybody on this group, Jay, Rob, you guys, the knowledge that you guys have, Jeff, I can just, hey, what do you guys think about this? Or is this the right price? And that in itself, I think is a great advantage because it saves you a lot of time. And in a lot of cases, it's going to save you money.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell you, well, listen, if this is what you like, if you like A, B, C, and D, you'll like this. Or on the other hand, if you like this, this, and this, you're not going to really like this.
Yeah.
Some of you guys don't like stuff that has a lot of peat to it. So, you guys will be able to listen, no, you're not going to be into that.
So Mark,
hold on a second. We're getting close to the end here. So I want to hit something real fast before we leave. Real quick. When I say quick, I mean actual quick answers. What was the most hyped bourbon that you had this year that you felt was completely overhyped?
The kind of tenure.
I agree with that, but I don't think it was hyped.
I don't disagree with him. He's right.
What did he say?
The can of tenure.
Okay.
All right, so that's Jack's. Jeff?
Weller Special Reserve.
I don't disagree with you there either. Jay?
I can't say. I refuse.
Okay, Mark?
For me, probably Blade and Bow.
I actually like that, but I can see
it's okay. It's okay. It just didn't make me want to jump through hoops. Like I hear people going nuts over it, and I'm like, it's okay.
I think they just want to collect all the keys.
Yeah, again, I know my second would be the McKenna.
I'm thinking, Mark, I kind of agree because I grabbed a bottle, but I didn't ever hear anything before I grabbed it. So I'm like, I didn't know it was hyped.
Jonathan?
The Kirkland brand of premium small batch bourbon, 7-year. Got at Costco in Alabama.
That was hyped.
Okay.
Somebody hyped it up to me, so when I got to
okay.
Alabama, I was like, "Oh, I got to pick this up. It's supposed to be good." It was like one of the first 10 bottles.
We all have that experience for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Rob?
This year, I've not had anything that I really didn't care for as far as being overhyped. I mean, most of the stuff I'm buying has been kind of under the radar. So I don't know that I necessarily have anything that's, unless you're looking at local, and it would be the Weigel. It's 4 years or less. But outside of that, no, I really can't pick one thing out.
David?
Probably the Garrison Brothers small batch.
Boy, isn't that true? God,
yeah, and it's not that I disliked it.
I did.
I just would never pay that much for it.
I totally disliked it.
It's not that again, and I know your palate and mine, and
I
kind
passed
of where
on
we're
that
at
because of the price.
Yeah, and it's probably the wise thing to do. Being honest, we all just it's that it's got to be great. It was very much hyped to me because I'm friends with a guy who knows the distiller, and he's all very rah about it. So I was like, okay, yeah, all right, you sold me. We actually did a trade, yeah, it was
75 was something like in PA was $49.99 for a 375.
Yeah, I paid 80, I think, then plus shipping.
I ain't
But,
paying that much.
But yeah, don't, I would say don't do that. And also months later, I found it on a shelf in the local place that I go to, and I'm like, oh, there it is right there. I thought I couldn't get this here. Well, there you go. But
Billy.
Not that it was too overhyped or I didn't like it, but I felt like I had a lot of other stuff that I liked better. The new riff.
Really? I actually really like the new riff.
I mean, it's good. I will say this.
But it is hyped. It is hyped. I agree with you.
The only reason it's in my house is because my lovely wife brought it home. So it was not a bad buy. It was, I mean, we killed the bottle. Don't get me wrong. It didn't get wasted.
Right.
Like, she held a gun to me the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was a good pour, but would I personally go out and buy it? No. And probably also because I can walk into literally any store here in Miami. I think Publix has it in their liquor store. Like, it's everywhere.
See, Billy, that was me with Blade and Bold. It wasn't that I didn't like it. I just wasn't blown away. I guess
exactly.
I kept hearing everyone talk about how wonderful it is. And it's the best thing smoking.
I agree with Billy on the new
This
riff.
right here for $9 that's no longer being made, I'll take any day over it.
Yeah.
If you haven't had this,
But I agree with Billy. It's like,
grab it before it's gone.
how great it was. But when I take every new riff I've ever tasted, I'm like,
is that Tabasco?
The flavor is going to be there when it's in the barrel another 4 or 5 years. I think every new riff I've had has always been way too young tasting. If it had more time in the barrel, I think it might start living up to the hype.
All right. So for me, and
I already know what you're going to say.
Well, I am going to say that one too, but I've actually got 3. So the first one, and I'm going to feed off of what Jeff just said, the Redemption. Everybody talked about how great that was. I was like, oh my God, the only one I like is the rum cast. And that one's pretty solid. But for the most part, it tastes way too young, and it tastes like it needs to be in the barrel for, I don't know, another 6 years probably. I don't know. It just needs to be in there for a while. All right. Until it starts tasting like bourbon. So that would be the first one for me. Well, in no particular order, just the first one I'm gonna mention. Second one is Heaven's Door. Everybody talked about how great Heaven's Door is. You hear about that all the time. And I'll be honest with you, the only thing worse than Heaven's Door is my next one. And that is the Jack Daniel's barrel picks that everybody keeps talking about.
You didn't say the one I thought you were going to say.
No, because it wasn't hyped this year. The ones you were probably thinking.
I was thinking of Kentucky Par.
Yeah, that one too. Oh my God, that was horrible too. Like, why would you?
It wasn't horrible. It wasn't worth damn near $120.
Listen, guys, before we take off, I do want to say one thing to our brother Hal. I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook.
100 miles, yeah.
100 miles.
Man, so for real.
Listen, he's a better man
Al
than me.
Carmine, man. That's
100.
100 miles.
Listen, I know he hasn't been on the show in a while because he's been doing this crazy thing.
100 yards.
A shout out to him because I'll drive 100 miles, but I'm not running.
I'll drive 100 miles, but I may bitch the whole way.
I believe that.
Just saying.
Hey, Jody. So did you get out of the Heaven's Door that it tastes like Bob later years of singing?
I don't even like his early years of singing.
Oh man.
Just saying.
Yeah,
like
wow, that was pretty good.
Did he have a stroke at 16?
Come on.
Anyway, always fun, guys. We're going to do this again on Sunday. I'm sure it'll be just as well organized. Won't hold my breath for any of that, but anyhow, guys, it's always fun. I always enjoy it, and cheers to everyone. And Billy, would you like to say be good to ourselves so I can have it?
Gentlemen, to Hal, David, to your triumphant return, gentlemen, be good to yourselves.
Cheers.
Like scoliosis.